And I will go back if I can for a second, about 115 years ago, if that's okay.
Sure.
The city of I'm gonna take you back to 1907 real quick before I fast forward to today, because the city of Greenville invited a landscape architect out of Boston named Harlan Kelsey to come and do a master plan for Greenville.
Mhm.
And he identified what he called the Emerald Necklace of Parks, three spaces in Greenville that were along the Reedy that he envisioned as places that this community could thrive on if we
Mm.
built parks there. 20 years later, we opened Cleveland Park at spot
Mhm.
number one of the Emerald Necklace. 100 years later, we built on the second spot of the Emerald Necklace, Falls Park. And
Mhm.
now here we are, 115, 120 years later, building Unity Park on the third spot of that Emerald Necklace. So the idea that a world-renowned landscape architect identified this as a place for a signature park in Greenville, and now that all three of those have come to fruition in diverse areas of the city, is something that we're really excited about. And so, as you mentioned, I think a lot of people still have a hard time kind of grasping the concept of how close this is to
Mhm.
downtown,
Right.
where it is, what the layout will look like. To give you some landmarks, if you know where the Croc Center is, the
Mhm.
Croc Center tennis courts right across the street from Hudson Street there. If you know where the post office is on Washington Street, if you were to turn on Hudson and Washington, just this week we dedicated kind of the gateway to Unity Park, a plaza named after Lila Mae Brock, a hero in the Southern
Mhm.
Side neighborhood, dedicated her life to feeding the poor and affordable housing. And so the Southern Side neighborhood, there is a lot of dark history there in terms of the way in the past
Mhm.
the city of Greenville treated that part of town, West Greenville and Southern Side.
Yeah.
Not many people know that Unity Park, for a long time, was the location of the city public works, a couple of landfills, a dog pound, a women's prison, a police shooting range. All of those things once lived in the area where children lived and grew up.
Mm.
And in 1939, a man named Elias Holloway, who was a postman, put out a petition for a park. And it's taken way too long. I think city leaders will admit that. But we aspire to do better for all of our communities. And Unity Park will be spectacular, a signature park in a part of town that has been waiting a very long time for this kind of recreation and opportunity.
Mm.
So, yeah, it is not far from Academy Street. If you've passed through downtown Greenville and are kind of headed in the Easley direction, um, it the features alone. If you visited the Commons, Methodical Coffee, had something to drink there. Boyd Cycling, Southern Side Brewing, those businesses invested early,
Right.
and have put up with the construction.
Mhm.
But now we've got the Swamp Rabbit Trail running along both sides of the Reedy
Right.
through the park. We are going to, once it opens in May, kind of designate one as the slow down lane, if you will, because we're finding already a lot of congestion there in the Commons, and we're going to determine that the southern side of the river will be the pass through
Okay.
section. But this park is going to have the second largest splash pad in the state, 50 jets spraying kids, 4 amazing playgrounds. This weekend, probably by the time this show airs, we're going to be posting some updated pictures on our City of Greenville Facebook social media channels.
Mhm.
A toddler playground for all those parents that specifically don't want teenage kids like mine mowing down their 2-year-olds and 3-year-olds. A dedicated toddler playground. a really cool natural playground that is these manufactured like tree trunks and stumps and boulders and stuff for little boys to climb on. We sprayed all these gigantic dirt mounds with something called Spraycrete.
Hmm.
So, and then we're going to wrap them in turf. And so you can literally climb hills inside this park as a kid. So it is going
Yeah.
to be, I think families' jaws are going to drop